Alright, what's up, y'all? So I am doing the intro to this video because you'll notice at the end of the video my phone cut off. Well, the camera, which is my phone, cut off. And I didn't even realize it until, you know, I'm like halfway done putting the stuff together. So first of all, let me apologize for that. Sometime when I get to working, I ain't even really noticed that I'm not filming anymore. So yeah. But I also wanted to tell y'all why I changed the throttle position sensor in my car. So a while ago, my car was like surging. So like if I'm sitting at a stoplight or a stop sign, or I'm just kind of coasting, it would be like like it was not accelerating per se, but it would like speed up, slow down. You know, the car is kind of lurching back and forth, and I'm not doing anything. Like I'm not pressing the accelerator, I'm not pressing the brake. So it was doing that on its own. That was the first sign, but it didn't do it all the time. It would do it every now and again. The second symptom was when I went to set my cruise control on the highway, it would take a long time for the cruise control to set. And then, you know, finally, after I've gone maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10 miles down the highway, the cruise control would kick on and set and do what it was supposed to do. The third symptom I started having about a month ago. I had a E039 code come up. So it was telling me service engine soon, that light would come on, and when I would check the codes I would get an E039 code. So that code is for your VCC system, which is the viscous clutch converter solenoid, which basically locks up the torque converter to the motor and makes it to where the motor and the torque converter don't slip. So that basically helps reduce basically helps you get better fuel economy. That's what that was designed to do. Whether it actually does that or not, well, I think it does, because I'm gonna tell you why in a minute. But anyway, that's what that code is for. However, I didn't think my transmission was like there was a problem inside the transmission. Now, of course, it can always be a shorted wire, shorted to ground, or open wire, or open circuit, whatever. But the reason why I didn't immediately think it was the transmission is because I was having problems with other things. Like I was having a bunch of problems where, if you read about the E039 code, one of the inputs that the ECM looks for is the throttle position sensor. Because if your throttle is over, if the throttle is open past a certain point for a certain amount of time, it locks up the torque converter. So I was like, the cruise control, same thing. What's its main input? Throttle position sensor. It wants to know where the throttle is so that it can maintain the speed of the vehicle. Same thing with the lurching. Now the lurching and, you know, stuff like that, that's common for a throttle position sensor. So all that stuff coupled together kind of let me know it probably was my throttle position sensor, and that I wasn't having a problem in the transmission, and that I didn't have a problem with some other component of the cruise control. So that's what, you know, tipped me off to the throttle position sensor. I did in fact test the throttle position sensor and with a voltmeter, and it was reading very erratically. Like the signal wire that goes back to the ECM to tell the ECM where it was, even when the throttle was not moving, the voltage was changing, and that shouldn't happen. If your throttle, the voltage should only change if the throttle opens or closes, you know, if it's moving. So it was giving me an erratic reading on that. So I ruled that the throttle position sensor was bad. Also, I want to throw in there, if you don't have your service manual for your vehicle and you got a stock motor and all that kind of stuff, I would suggest that you invest in the factory service manual. You pretty much could be a dummy as long as you can read and comprehend what you read. you pretty much can fix most things, or at least you can diagnose it. So that's how I was able to diagnose it. It told me what color wire, where to look for the wire, where to probe the wire. It pretty much tells you everything, because they kind of know that a lot of these mechanics in these dealerships are idiots. No offense if you're a mechanic in a dealership, but you're usually an idiot. And I'm only saying that because I've gone to so many and I've gotten burned by these technicians who supposedly supposed to know what they're doing, and they don't. That's why I no longer allow people to touch my vehicles. So that being said, factory service manuals, you can find them on eBay, especially if an older car like mine, they're fairly cheap, you know, anywhere from 10 to 20 bucks. Now, if you got a newer vehicle, they may be more expensive, but I'm going to tell you, if you repair your car, and depending on what the repair is, it probably will pay for itself the first time you repair your vehicle. So anyway, throttle position sensor is bad. I replaced the throttle position sensor. The factory service manual also told me the correct way to adjust the throttle position sensor. Once it was adjusted properly, I basically put everything back together. So that's what you're not going to see. Everything is put back together reverse of how I took it off, like the air cleaner and stuff. I think that's where the video cuts off at, is before I get ready to put the air cleaner and stuff back on. And I also didn't show adjusting it, but adjusting it is not rocket science. You pretty much loosen the screws. You can move the throttle position sensor a little bit to the left or right. Your idle will change a bit. But you want to get your RPMs at idle back where they were. So mine were roughly 1,000. That's where the car usually idles at. I got it back to 1,000. It idles at about 1,000, 1,025. So it's close enough for me. And then I test drove the car. And what I noticed immediately was, also I was having an issue with when I would try to accelerate. It didn't really want to accelerate like it wants to, because the throttle position sensor also tells the ECM how much fuel the fuel injectors should be spraying, according to where the throttle is. So the throttle opens, it moves the throttle position sensor, and the ECM either tells the fuel injectors more fuel, less fuel, based on where the throttle position sensor is. So I was having an acceleration problem too, especially up hills. It was very sluggish to go up hills, didn't want to go up hills, and that was unusual for that car. And it didn't start doing that until I started, like I said, the first symptom was the lurching, the surging back and forth. So yeah, once I did all that, also I will admit I was a little low on transmission fluid. I'm not exactly sure why. I went under the car, checked all the lines. Nothing seems to be leaking. I'm going to keep my eye on it because I'm not stupid. Transmission fluid does not evaporate. So I was a little low. I wasn't a lot low, just a little low. I did top it off, put it back where it was supposed to be, and the car seems to be driving fine. I do have some more stuff coming up on that car, the front struts. I have to do the front struts. I have to do the power steering. There's a tiny little leak somewhere. I don't put much power steering fluid in that car, but there's a, I put about half a cup about every month or so, and power steering fluid does not evaporate. That's leaking out somewhere. It's a hole somewhere. I have the hoses. I have a new pump. I have all that. So be looking for look for those videos coming up as far as that car. And now that it's cooled off, I'm gonna go pick up my other car, and I'm gonna get it back on the road, and then I'm gonna go do the Bronco. So y'all stay tuned. I still have all my vehicles. I have way too many vehicles. It's ridiculous. But I'm going to be working on all these cars and getting them back on the road and stuff like that. But yeah, so this is how to change the throttle position sensor. Hope y'all enjoyed. If you got any questions, leave them in the comment section below. I appreciate everybody for watching. Please subscribe, share the videos, like the videos, dislike the videos, like whatever. It's your prerogative. So yeah, till next time. See you guys later. All right, y'all. So we back with some more repairs. So today we're doing a throttle position sensor. So the first thing we got to do is take this off. So none of my wing nuts are broke. If they broke, use a Phillips head screwdriver and get them loose. don't you spin like the other one? There we go. So you got 4 of these, one on each side. This is the one people usually forget, the one that's in the back here. Make sure I oil them up. Next thing you want to do is unscrew this right here in the middle. And when that's off, it'll come off like that. Don't lose it. Then you just want to lift. I say that, then it don't want to act right. There we go. Let me put y'all down and use both hands. Oh, I wouldn't put on some gloves, y'all, because just that little bit of I don't know why that thing was on there that hard. But one more thing I want to tell y'all to take off. See these hoses that connect to this? You can use a screwdriver, but finger usually work just as well. I guess I am gonna have to get a screwdriver. Alright. Get a screwdriver. Actually pry up on that bottom part. And that'll loosen that hose clamp. Then just pry that one off. Now, there's one in the back as well. Put y'all right here. Alright. So this is the one I'm after. Right here. If you haven't had these hoses off in a while, they might be kind of stuck on. So just, you know, be gentle, but get them off. Now, I'll show y'all something. But right here, there are 2 little vacuum lines. And you want to disconnect those as best you can and try to be gentle. These things, the little nylon lines that go to them, when your car is this old, they're very brittle. So what I try to do is lift up on this gently. See where they connect right here? Then I try to gently wiggle them off. Okay? you go. Now you should be free. Take this out. Nope, I think there's one more thing. Okay, so when you flip this up, there's a looks like a PCB hose right there. So I just left this part attached, and I just pulled that up out of the hose. So the throttle position sensor is bolted to the throttle body. This is it right here. That's the electrical connector, and this is the wire that goes to it, and it's bolted down there. So I'm gonna take this electrical connection on first. There's a tab right here. You can't see it, but lift the tab. So you see it right there. Here's the tab. Lift the tab and that'll come right off. And you just want to kind of place that wire out of the way. Here's the sensor here. It's 2 bolts that go to it. One on this side, one on the other side. Alright, hopefully y'all can see that alright. Alright, hopefully that ain't just okay. I know it ain't the best, but don't worry y'all, I'm gonna invest in another camera very soon. So that bolt is a 8mm. Also, I want to mention to you, I did disconnect the negative battery cable before I started this. I generally do that on anytime I'm working on something electrical or the engine. I just tend to do that. for these bolts. You can also use the Torx in them, but that area is so tight, I really can't see getting the Torx up in there. More than welcome to try if you want to, but at least not on this particular car. I can't see it because it's tight enough. Just the ratchet. I'm using a small 1/4-inch ratchet. I can only imagine. I guess if you had a Torx socket on a Torx bit on your ratchet, that might work. It's like now I'm getting like 2 clicks on each turn. Anybody who works the ratchet knows it's like an 1/8 of a turn. So I'm really just trying to get it loosened to a certain point. Then you can loosen it with your fingers. You'd think. There. Okay, got the bolt and the throttle position sensor out. So that's what it looked like. It's in there just like that. So, and it has these little ears against it like that to help locate it. Alright y'all, so here's a new part. I know they say carburetor part. This car is fuel injected, but it's an early version of fuel injection. This is a new old stock part. I bought this a while ago for this car. Comes with the instructions. But most importantly, it comes with the part itself and all the little pieces that you need. So 2 new bolts, 2 of them new ears, and the actual throttle body. Throttle position sensor itself. And you can see it's the same as the old one. I'm gonna dump these bolts and stuff in here. I am gonna use the new bolts. They recommend you use the new bolts. But always compare your new and your old part to make sure it's the same. These actually have the same part number. I don't know if y'all can see that or not. It's kind of hard to see, but it says 69536. They actually have all the same numbers except for this number right above here. This one is CO375 and this one is CO059. But I'm sure that's unimportant. So I'm pretty sure this is the original one. And this car has 171,000 miles and some change. So we're gonna put this new one back in. So you want to put it on just like this one. See how it has the bolt. See how it has the bolt and then the ear right there. So you want to put them on like that. Cause see this thing, you actually can move it to adjust it. So that's why it has those. So you want to put it back on like that. Now, it's probably going to be kind of tedious. So I would say take 1 bolt and 1 ear at a time. I also would say have a magnet or something handy. Let's see, let's make sure we're doing that right. Nope. Goes like that. So the little pointy part of the ear goes down. I'm gonna put the bolt in. Since this one was harder to do, I'm gonna do the harder one first. That way, once I get it in, it'll feel like I'm on the home stretch. I'm on the downhill from there. You get what I mean? Really a lot of crap. Anyway, that's beside it. This is actually kind of hard to see because I couldn't really see what this thing was resting on. Alright, got it started. So I got that one started. The bad thing about these bolts is you have to use the Torx. So let me go get a Torx bit. Ugh. Glad that didn't fall down very far. So I just moved the throttle body so that I could make sure that the throttle position sensor is engaged. Now I'm just tightening it, move my hand, tightening it by hand with the Torx socket. I'm going to use the actual ratchet in a minute, because just in case I need to adjust this, I don't want to tighten them all the way down, because to adjust it, you just loosen it. So like a friction fit type situation.